Hello and welcome to another video. Today I'd like to talk about probably the universal topic that anyone who's thinking about getting a tattoo for the first time would ask themselves. Is it going to be painful? How much does a tattoo hurt? I put together a pain guide that you can access on the studio page of this platform where there's a visual chart that has the nerve endings mapped out to show where it's going to be the most sensitive and the areas that are not so sensitive. It's kind of self-explanatory where the green areas are not so bad and the red areas are quite bad. You can see in all your pits, in front of your elbows, behind your kneecaps, even on the knees, in the groin area. It's quite bad. On the ribs, I'm sure you've heard about the ribs, sternum. Yeah. So if you've ever seen someone who's heavily tattooed in some of these red areas, you need to give them some respect. Don't mess with someone who has a tattoo on their head. They can take pain. I can tell you that. So, or maybe this chat is a lie. Tell me what your experience was like when you got a tattoo. Do you think it was accurate based on your experience? Or maybe you just discover that you just have a high pain tolerance. I thought it would be quite cool for, you know, anyone who's interested in finding out or just trying to prepare themselves or trying to make a decision or on where to put a tattoo that they're not in pain is kind of a consideration. This is not to say that in the green areas you will feel nothing, because obviously, as long as we are punching holes into your skin, you will feel something. Obviously, more pain in other areas than others. So there's another tab here where we put together some pain management strategies. So there's things that you can do to actually make your session a little bit more comfortable. And it starts even by preparing. I always ask people you need to get proper, like night sleep. You need to eat a good meal, make sure that you're properly balanced. You need to stay hydrated and definitely avoid taking any blood thinners. It could be caffeinated drinks or alcohol. You don't want to come hungover or anything like that. And those are just some helpful tips. And during the session, you obviously want to have controlled breathing, or you can find some distraction techniques. It could be music, or you could listen to a podcast, or whatever you like. You can take short breaks. Obviously, it's always highly recommended to stay hydrated. Yeah. And then obviously there are also some pain relief methods that can be used, which could be like some topical numbing creams, cold therapy, and they are the things that you're not supposed to do. So you definitely want to avoid alcohol and drugs. I think I just said that. You want to avoid caffeine. You want to avoid taking painkillers. I know if you're expecting pain, you would think that the thing to do would be to take painkillers, but they would, they can also thin down your blood. And the reason why you don't want to thin your blood is that when you poke holes into the skin to deposit the ink, you don't want that ink to be pushed out by the overly thinned out blood, because now your tattoo is going to now end up healing a little bit splotchy, or you might lose some of the ink. Then you might then need to have a touch up, so you have to go through the same pain twice, which kind of defeats the whole purpose. And it's better to just avoid taking painkillers. And if you notice yourself getting dizzy or nauseous or about to faint, you want to say something. You want to have an open communication with your tattooer about how you're feeling. So, yeah, if you start seeing excessive sweating or shaking, this could be as a tattoo artist or even yourself. If you notice yourself having developing any of these symptoms, you want to definitely slow down or maybe suspend the session for the day. Obviously, if you see any signs of allergic reactions, these are very rare, but it's as a person who's allergic to something, you may know how you turn when you are allergic to something. So yeah, it's always important to err on the side of caution. There are several other factors that can affect pain, which obviously age is somewhat impactful. So we've rated them here based on the level of impactfulness. So I don't know what you guys think. Is this accurate? Starting with the age, I do believe that when I was younger, I could take pain a lot better than as I grow older. And I think it's been the same experience for most of my clients as well, where they would swear they could get it was nothing back in their 20s, and maybe now that they're in their 40s or approaching their 50s, not so much. Gender, it has a low impact. Ladies and gentlemen, yeah, it's equal. It's not ruffle any feathers. Body composition, the more muscular or fat you have, I'm sure you've heard it before, like thinner individuals would probably experience a little bit more pain because the fat and the muscle would, for someone who's a little bit more bigger or a little bit more buff, that would cushion some of the pain. And then there's also some tattoo specific factors, like, if it's a big tattoo, um, it's obviously going to hurt more than a small tattoo because you're going to be getting tattooed for much longer. So there's more trauma that's going to be applied to the skin. If there's line work or shading, like they kind of feel different. And line work is actually typically a little bit more painful than shading. I don't know if that has also been your experience, or, but I swear by it. And usually the thinner the needle, the more sensitive it is. Funny enough, the larger the magnum, the softer the hit. But I think the logic is that it's a lot more needles, so it's like there's a lot more distribution of the sensation. If I don't know if I can put it like that. That's not very scientific, but yeah. If it's a tattoo that has some color to it, let's say you want to blend certain colors together, it means you're going to have to be going over the same area a couple of times before you get the blend that you're trying to achieve. And that would obviously end up hurting a little bit more. The needle configurations I was mentioning about if you have a bigger magnum or you're using a smaller needle, they're going to feel different. And liners tend to be a little bit more on the sensitive side. There are also some environmental factors, like the day of the time. I mean, like time of the day, which doesn't affect anything now, does it? The weather, the heat does increase the swelling and discomfort, and the cold can make you a little bit more tense. But because there's a lot less swelling and discomfort, I find it to be a little bit better. I probably should have mentioned that here as well, but yeah, obviously the studio is if it's a nice environment and it's a nice vibe, you're probably going to have a much more comfortable experience, which is why you're going to see that most professional shops try to, like make their space as comfortable and homely feeling as possible. This one is obviously a big one. The tattoo artist's technique definitely affects how a tattoo is going to feel. The more experienced the tattoo artist is, the chances are they've perfected their technique to a point where they're very efficient. So they only touch the skin with purpose. There's no trial and error, meaning that when something hits the skin, it hits it the way that the artist intends, and they don't have to come back and like polish anything up, which makes the experience that much, better in terms of pain. There are some health and lifestyle factors that one may need to put into consideration, which, I mean, if you are very stressed, it can increase your sensitivity to pain, unfortunately. The messed up thing is that most people come to get tattooed when something has happened in their life. And a lot of people come to get tattooed when they are stressed, which unfortunately makes the situation for them a little bit worse. But sometimes some people want the pain to feel something else other than the pain that they're going through. So I guess that's a thing. The quality of the sleep that you have. So if you're someone who doesn't have good quality sleep, you remember, like I said, you should have some good sleep before you come in for your session. But then if you don't have good quality sleep, not just before the session, and it's like something that's, I don't know if chronic is the word, chronic bad sleeper. If you're that, then yeah, your tattoo sessions may be very uncomfortable. if you are taking medication, it can affect the amount of pain that you experience. So you might want to ask a health professional and see what impact whatever medication you may have, maybe taking, might have on your upcoming tattoo session. If you are worried about how your experience will be, that's obviously something that I would always highly advise. Yeah, and here's some key takeaways that if you don't want to go through all of that, you can just go and quickly look at the key takeaways and be informed in case I missed something or rushed through anything here. I hope some of this information was helpful or impactful. And if you'd like to go through the entire pain guide, you're more than welcome to go and have a look on the website. That's alicetattoos.com. I'm also going to put a link to the Android application in the video description below. And yeah, let me know what you think about this pain guide. It may not be the most comprehensive, but it's the most comprehensive that I've been able to come up with thus far. If you think that there's something that is needed or is lacking, let me know, and then we can add it, and then just make this information free and available to anyone who might be looking to get it. The better the information is out there, the better the quality of tattooing and the better the quality of experience everyone has. And I think it just makes tattooing as a whole that much better. Till next time, ciao.